Welcome to The Explainer. So, you're in Brisbane and you're thinking about selling your car. Chances are you're staring down a pretty stressful choice right now. Do you go out and get a roadworthy certificate, or do you just sell the thing as is? Look, it sounds like a totally straightforward question, right? But making the wrong call here can literally cost you hundreds, maybe even thousands of dollars. So let's dive right in. We're going to completely unpack this dilemma. We'll look at the actual Queensland regulations, dig into those sneaky hidden costs, and figure out the absolute best strategy for your specific situation. Let's get to it.
Okay, first things first. We really need to bust a massive myth right out of the gate. Do you legally need an RWC to sell your car in Brisbane? Now, most people would instantly say, well, yeah, of course, assuming it's just mandatory for absolutely every single sale. But actually, that is simply not true. Under Queensland law, a roadworthy certificate is generally only required when you are selling a registered vehicle privately. Yep, that's the catch. If you're selling to a licensed motor dealer, or if the car is unregistered, or maybe you're selling to a specialized buyer, that transaction can often proceed perfectly legally without one. Understanding that one single distinction is your key to keeping a whole lot of unnecessary expenses firmly out of your way.
So let's take a real look at what a roadworthy certificate actually is, and honestly, more importantly, what it isn't. An RWC is basically just a confirmation that your vehicle meets Queensland's bare minimum safety requirements at the exact moment of the inspection. And that's it. It is entirely focused on road safety, which means it completely ignores the overall mechanical reliability of your car. Seriously, an inspector is not going to check your engine's long-term performance. They do not care about transmission wear, air conditioning faults, or any cosmetic damage. Your car could theoretically pass an RWC today, and the engine could literally blow up tomorrow. It's so crucial to understand this because buyers often think an RWC means a perfect car, and sellers think it guarantees a massive sale price. It doesn't. It just means it's safe to drive on the road today.
And let me tell you, getting that safe stamp of approval is not always a walk in the park. In fact, here are the most common reasons vehicles fail their very first inspection. We are talking worn tires, maybe a faulty indicator light, a tiny chip in the windscreen, slightly worn wiper blades, or even unseen steering and suspension wear. Inspectors are notoriously rigorous about these specific safety items, so yes, even slightly streaky wiper blades can totally guarantee a failed inspection and an unexpected bill from your mechanic. And what happens when you fail? Well, you can't just ignore it. You're instantly on the hook to repair those issues before the certificate can even be issued. For an older car, or one that's maybe missed a few scheduled services, this checklist is basically a recipe for immense frustration and a seriously drained bank account.
Which brings us to a pretty harsh reality. $0. That is the exact amount of guaranteed return on investment you get when paying for an RWC. Think about the real costs here. First, you have the initial inspection fee. If you fail, well, then you've got the repair costs. But what sellers frequently overlook are all the hidden expenses, right? Towing an unroadworthy car to the shop, taking precious time off work to manage all these appointments, and the time your car just sits there losing value while you're waiting for parts to arrive. So many Brisbane sellers pour all this money into an older or damaged car, just assuming they'll add that cost right onto their asking price. But guys, the market just doesn't work that way. There is zero guarantee you're going to recoup those costs when you finally hand over the keys.
Section 1. RWC versus selling as is. Which makes the most financial sense? Let's break this down and compare your two options. On the time front, going the traditional route and selling with an RWC is slow. You're booking inspections, you're waiting on repairs, and then playing the whole waiting game for a private buyer to show up. Selling as is? Much, much faster. When it comes to costs, an RWC requires high upfront cash straight out of your pocket, whereas selling as is literally costs you zero upfront. And the types of buyers you'll deal with change completely too. An RWC targets private buyers who just want a turnkey, road-ready car. But selling as is opens you up to licensed dealers, recyclers, and those quick cash for cars buyers. And finally, the paperwork. The traditional route is super heavy on Queensland transfer documentation and RWC forms. The as-is route, especially when you're dealing with specialized businesses, means they do the heavy lifting for you. It really boils down to a trade-off. Are you trying to maximize a potential private sale price, or do you want to completely eliminate the stress, the time, and the upfront financial risk?
Section 2. The hassle-free solution. Fast sales without the repair bills.
So,
If you're sitting there realizing that the whole RWC investment simply won't pay off for your specific vehicle, you should know there are buyers out there specifically designed for this exact scenario. A perfect example right here in our area is For Car Brisbane. They are the ultimate fast, zero-cost alternative for sellers who just want to completely skip that inspection line and keep their own money in their own pockets. And because they're a specialized buying service, those usual Queensland RWC rules for private sales, they don't bottleneck the process at all.
Going this route actually makes your life incredibly easy, and it really comes down to 3 simple steps. Number 1, they buy the car in its exact existing condition. Seriously, no cosmetic fixes, no stressing over that broken AC, and definitely no buying brand new tires. Number 2, they provide free towing. Remember all those sneaky hidden costs we talked about earlier? If your car is non-running or currently unregistered, towing it can cost an absolute fortune. This service eliminates that completely. And number 3, they handle all that tricky Queensland transfer paperwork. One of the most common mistakes everyday sellers make is messing up the transfer docs, which can literally leave you legally liable for a car you don't even own anymore. Having a professional service take that massive headache completely off your plate is a real game changer.
But hey, how do you know if this is actually the right move for your car? Well, selling as is to a service like For Car Brisbane is absolutely the best financial choice if your vehicle falls into one of these specific categories. Got an older vehicle where the market value is already pretty low? Don't overcapitalize on it. What about high-kilometer cars? Those naturally have massive wear on the exact safety components inspectors love to fail. Then there are accident-damaged vehicles where the structural repairs are just way too costly. Or cars with really expensive mechanical faults, like say a blown transmission that costs more than the entire car is even worth. And of course, non-running or unregistered cars. If your car fits into any of these buckets, pouring your hard-earned money into an RWC is quite frankly a massive financial trap.
Which really leaves us with this final incredibly important question to ask yourself before you do absolutely anything else. Why pay to sell your own car? I mean, think about it. If your vehicle is a late model, it's in pristine condition, and it's easily going to breeze through an inspection to fetch top dollar privately, then absolutely, by all means, the RWC route makes total sense for you. But if getting it road ready is going to cost you time off work, expensive towing fees, ridiculous mechanic bills, and weeks of stress with absolutely no guarantee of a return on that investment, then it's definitely time to rethink the strategy. At the end of the day, your peace of mind and your true bottom line are what matter most. So take a really hard look at your vehicle's condition today, run the numbers for yourself, and remember, selling as is might just be the smartest financial move you can make. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and hey, good luck with your sale.